Hey everyone, Sally here, and happy Sunday, and welcome to Tarot Sundays. So, with today's card reading, I wanted to just kind of put a disclaimer out there that there is such positive energy flowing through the room right now. I just attended a great UU service, felt very in touch with the spirits, and so the energy is flowing through the room, the incense, the candles burning, and we're on it. Today's question, which is kind of general basic, what do the cards have in store for us? And so we pulled that 10 of presents in the reversed position. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with tarot or know it more so based off of the traditional tarot, this is going to be like a Pentacles card. And so I just kind of wanted to put out there that for purposes of these videos in this deck, we will be reading the cards in reversed if pulled, but not everybody chooses to do so. Some guidebooks don't come with a reversed reading. They just have with the meaning of what the actual card is. And so it is up to you to determine on if you want to read the cards in reversed or not. Some people that have the guidebook that have the cards in reversed also do choose not to read in reversed. So just kind of keep those little things in mind when you are looking into tarot yourself or when watching my videos. Again, the way I'm doing these videos is because the guidebook has it and it's based off of my personal tarot and my experience with this deck. I will say I do have another deck that I use as well, but I do not read that one in reverse. But that is something for another time that we can talk about. Getting back to our card, we're going to put it upright, and we're just going to take a second to look at the imagery of the card. And so when I am pulling a card and I'm doing any type of reading, the way I like to do is I like to look at what is on the surface of the card, what is the imagery, and try to make associations with what is within the card to see if they have any personal meanings to me, any spiritual meanings, any type of just generalized, hey, the world associates object X with feeling X or situation X, those types of things. And so when I take a look at this card, you see the Christmas tree in the background here, decorated with gifts, presents, pumpkins, because it is the Nightmare Before Christmas theme deck, so it is kind of spooky-ish. But it has that look at me, I'm pretty, and hey, look, we have some expensive items going on here. Then if you take a look at the bottom of the tree here, you have the presents, which again, if you know anything about Christmas time or birthdays, gifts cost money, possessions, items, and then we have the snake here wrapping around the gifts, the presents, and that's kind of our basic energy. Now when you flip this card upside down, you have the same imagery. And so what this makes me think of is that the snake is like a lid. You're screwing that lid on super tight and you're holding this in place. So kind of thinking of that the presents and the tree got put into a jar and this is the lid to it. And that's kind of what this made me think of, was like, okay, you're holding on tight to something. Think of the card back in upright. Oh, well, look at that. That's an abundance of gifts under that tree. That's pretty up here. So very can be conceived as very materialistic, very pretty, your abundance, your wealth, your status, those types of things. And so when you have this card reversed and you have your lid super tight, you're holding in all your goods, what that could possibly mean is that you're being greedy. You have a plethora of something, of a good substance, money, what have you, and you are holding on to it. You're unwilling to share that wealth, that wealth, abundance with, whatever it is. It could mean that you're being selfish. You have great opportunity to grow, but instead of sharing your knowledge, for instance, you're holding on to it and you're refusing to let go because it's yours, it's shiny, it's pretty, you want to keep it. Um, and so that's kind of my takeaway from this card. And the reason why, I jumped to materialistic wealth abundance as well is because the present cards are also pentacles, are associated with like materialistic wealth, what you hold. It can also sometimes be associated with your ego as well. So again, you have your card, that tiny, that tight lid, you're holding on to all your shinies. Your ego's hurt because you don't want to share it. It's yours. Think of kids on a playground type of thing. And that is kind of my personal interpretation of the card. That is also how I do my tarot readings. As I go through that process, I take a look at the imagery. I kind of do that. So that's kind of the gist of that part. But I will look for it and read the blurb in the book as well. I've always liked to read the guidebook as well because you never know if you are going to like your interpretation or the guidebook's interpretation better. And if you're just starting out and you're just trying to kind of get a gist of the cards, the book is a great way to start out and learn your basics with any deck that you get. And I am just trying to find the page here. Okay. So, reversed, this card indicates you may have an unhealthy relationship with wealth. You are acting like a giant snake, encircling your vast treasures and unwilling to share. Remember, you didn't get here by yourself. You had help and support along the way. And now it's your turn to help and support others. So, yeah, so with my interpretation of you have that lid screwed, you're holding on to all your shinies you don't want to share, in combination with the guidebook, it's basically saying, whatever it is you're holding on to, whatever is holding you back, don't take for granted how you got those things. And remember to thank those who helped you along the way to get there. And just remember, just in general, like not even like this card, but it relates to this card, but just in general, just like don't be an asshole. I guess is the best way to say it. Like, just don't be one. But that is the gist of the Ten of Presents or Pentacles. And I hope that this card is helpful, or that you learned something, or at least a better understanding of how to read or look at a tarot card, because I know it can be intimidating. I have been only doing this for about a year, and there is still so much that I don't know. So that is one thing that I am going to be focusing on over the next calendar year, is deepening that tarot practice and really understanding what the different suits of the cards are, meaning the element of the card, how they and what they associate with personally within my life, just with the world in general, like spirituality, those types of things. because just because you're not using a traditional tarot deck does not mean that you're doing it wrong. There is all these variations of decks for a reason, but they all kind of have a generalized similarity or meaning, or particular, let me say particular, a particular deck may be designed a certain way to help with a certain trigger, I guess, in the mind, to help you understand trauma, yourself, others, you know, the world around you in a way that your brain understands, per se. So maybe not necessarily in a spiritual type way. Um, Tarot is very vast, and that is also my personal gnosis, I guess is the word you would say, gnosis, or opinion, thought, on tarot, based upon my personal experience and the things that I have learned from attending different workshops and listening to different podcasts. It is what I have kind of learned, and kind of associated. Now, if your opinion is different, then that's great. Let me know and we can talk about it. Nobody is wrong. Everybody does their own thing, practices their own way. And again, this whole podcast, the whole blog, everything is based off of things that I experience, read, feel, and do. And I understand that not everybody does, feels, reads, does. Confused myself, said the same word twice, but doesn't always do the same things that I do, and that's okay. That's how you learn and grow as a spiritual seeker in this world. Is you do it, you learn it, you learn something new. And I'm hoping that today and in the future that you can learn something new. But I'm done ranting for real this time, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.